Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob, and today I'm going to talk to you about Rangers of Shadowdeep. This is a game by Joseph McCullough, same guy who makes or created Frostgrave and Stargrave, Ghost Archipelago, and some other games. I play Frostgrave and Stargrave, and I used to play big war games like Warhammer and 40K and Kings of War and things like that, but and Flames of War. But as I don't know, I'm getting older or time constraints due to other things, I find that I've always been interested in skirmish level games, but I like skirmish level games better, so that's pretty much, when it comes to miniatures, all I play now. Now, I love Frostgrave. If you've seen my videos for any amount of time, you know that. Stargrave as well, they're both great. And they both offer an option for playing solo. However, Rangers of Shadowdeep is designed as a solo / co-op game from the ground up. There is no option for PvP. Unless you had a friend who just wanted to sit and roll the dice for the monsters. But at its core, it is a solo game. It operates on pretty much the same system as Frostgrave and Stargrave with some minor tweaks. So if you've played either one of those games, Rangers of Shadowdeep is very comfortable, very familiar, and easy to drop into. You have the same stat lines, move, fight, shoot, armor, will, health. You play adventures and gain experience and level up your ranger, and in this also eventually his companions, or her companions as it were. They don't level up as fast as the ranger does, but they do eventually level up, which is a nice change from Frostgrave and Stargrave, where they don't. You just buy more expensive versions that are armed better. So what makes this different? It is different because it's a different setting than Frostgrave or Stargrave, obviously. But the setting is built into the book. There is a whole little storyline about this thing called the Shadowdeep, this darkness that is encroaching on the lands, and it suddenly showed up. And all these evil and undead things are coming out of it and attacking villages, and the king has called for all of the rangers and companions to investigate and save as many people as they can, venture into the Shadowdeep, find a way to stop it, so on and so forth. It's very heavy story driven, more so than Frostgrave, I feel, because like even in the first mission, you have 6 clue tokens on the table. Not treasure tokens, clue tokens. And as you're revealing these clue tokens, you're putting together pieces of a story so that you know what happened in this village. It's actually called the Deserted Village, I believe. And each of the scenarios builds on that. You're putting together pieces of a story, so it has kind of an RPG aspect to it, in the sense that you're, like I said, building a story as you go. And you don't always get, even if you get all 6 tokens, doesn't necessarily mean you find all 6 of the thing, or all the things, all the information. There could still be information that you won't get, because when you find a clue token, you roll on a random chart to find out which clue you got, and there are more than 6 clues. Another way that this differs is at the end of each phase you have an event phase, and that is where you have a set of poker cards, ace through 9, ace being the 1, and at the end of each turn you will draw an event card and different things will happen, and there's a different chart for this for each mission that you play, so it's never the same thing twice. I've played the first mission 3 times now, and I'll get on to that and why in a moment. But I had very different outcomes each time I played. So the game is basically broken, a turn is broken into phases. You have the ranger phase, Then you have the monster phase where all the monsters go. Then you have the companion phase, so all of the companions of the ranger go. And then you have the event phase where you draw for an event. Now, I'm not sure why, but like I said, I've played this first mission 3 times, and it feels way faster than Frostgrave or Stargrave. It's not more deadly. It's pretty much as deadly as Frostgrave, and that can be, it's a pretty deadly game. So I'm not really sure why it breaks down like that. And then again, maybe it's because of the number of heroes that I'm putting on the table. I'm only putting 5 of the 7 possible figures on the table. But it does play a lot faster than Frostgrave, solo anyway. And in this day and age, with the COVID, Unicron or whatever it is now, and people staying at home, solo gaming has really come into its own. And even without that, maybe you don't have friends that are interested in playing miniature war games. These games having an option for playing solo is a way for you to still experience the skirmish level wargaming even though you don't have a friend to play with. So, I mean, I like that aspect of it. Now, I did try to record me playing the first mission 3 times and before I finally gave up, and there just will not be a recording. I'm not even going to try anymore. I'm just going to do some videos talking about the game. If you follow Rob's Game Group Facebook page, which there's a link in the description of the video, I did post some pictures of my setup and getting ready to play it yesterday. But 2 days ago, I played it, and my mic crapped out halfway through, so half the video had no sound. So I had to dump that one. I reset and went to film again and play, and I had that game was the worst dice rolls you could possibly imagine. By turn 3 of 8, everybody on my side was dead except the ranger and his 1 mook. So I ended up scrapping that one by turn 3, and I was frustrated, and I was just put everything away. So yesterday I broke it all out again. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to re-record, do this again. I actually recorded a full game, broke it into 2 videos that I was going to then edit and put into one. The first one being like 21 or 22 minutes, and the second one being 24 minutes. Had an amazing game. None of my guys died. They cleared the table. I had some great rolls. It was a lot of fun. And then I pulled the camera down to start working, and the video files were no good. I have no idea why. It's never done that before. But it's also part of the reason that in my most recent look at the book, I stopped doing the overhead view because I can't trust that camera right now. And until I get to where I can, I won't be doing the overhead views or actual play videos or anything like that, because I'm not going to waste my time recording and it not be there when I go to put it up. So just telling you about the game. It plays on a 3x3 or 2.5x2.5 depending on the scenario. So if you've got the stuff to play Frostgrave or Stargrave, then you've probably got the stuff to play this. Frostgrave specifically because of the fantasy terrain. I had my table set up with a lot of hills and trees and a well in the center, and I think there was an abandoned wagon there. And the scenario calls for somewhere between 2 and 5 village houses. And though I have a lot of Frostgrave terrain, one thing I don't have is a lot of village houses. And I need to build some. They're not hard to build. I already know how to build them. I just haven't done it yet. Mainly because you can't see it. I need to do another game room walkthrough like I did last year. But like my shelving is packed out everywhere. So if I build 4 or 5 houses, I'm not sure where I'm going to put 4 or 5 houses for gaming. So that's an issue I have to work out, but hey, whatever. What I decided to do instead was I used the hills and trees and stuff for the landscape, and then I had a bunch of these that I use for role-playing games like D&D and White Box, so on and so forth. And they're just flat buildings, so it's flat terrain. And it's fine because I just assume that it's tall enough that it completely blocks line of sight. And I got a pack with a whole bunch of these in it from my local game store, Cardboard Castle and Games. And I don't know, it was like 10 or 15 bucks for a whole bunch of these. I don't remember the company that makes them, so if you know the company that makes these, please put it in the comments. I bought these a long time ago, but they're neat. Like, some of them are just an overview of the building, and they're full colored, so that looks good. And then some of them have an interior, so this is like an inn if you wanted to use that in an RPG or in this game. This one is just a thatched roof, same on both sides. But then a bunch of them look normal on one side, and then if you flip them, they're like battle damaged or ruins. I got a couple of those. That's the normal side, and then that's the damage. And I was using these damaged sides. And then this one's like a much larger building or a barn or something with a damaged roof on the other side. So in a pinch, if you don't have buildings, using something like that is it works pretty good for this game. Because mainly all the buildings are there to do is block line of sight. So as long as you have something to represent that, you're good to go. And I have stuff for tons of games, whether it's role-playing, miniatures, or whatever. And I figured, well, I can use these for the game, and they don't take up any space. I can just toss them in the box when I'm done, and I don't have to have shelf space cleared out. So I don't know that I'll build village buildings anytime soon. But let's move on. So the game, like I said, it works broken into phases: Ranger phase, Monster phase, Companion phase, and then Event phase. And each scenario will give you a backstory as far as what's going on, and separate charts for the clues you find, separate charts for the events. So no two missions are the same. Even playing the same mission over and over is going to be different. Other than that, it plays a lot like Frostgrave. I'm not going to go into every detail of how it plays or how it plays differently. There are bunches of videos out there already on that. I'm just sharing my experience with it. So I'm going to show you the team that I built. And the miniatures, and only a couple of these are painted because I just printed some of these on the old 3D printer there, and I haven't gotten around to painting them yet. So let's start with my Ranger. And unlike Frostgrave, you don't have a bunch of different types of Rangers. You have one Ranger with a base stat line, and then you get 10 build points, and you can spend so many points, like up to 3 on stats, up to 5 on heroic abilities and spells, and then as many as you want on skills. So this is my Ranger for my story, Glaive Sandstone, and this miniature is actually a Dwarven Witcher miniature that I found online. You'll be able to see better pictures of these on Rob's Game Group if you want to go follow that. Again, link is in the description. But that's my Ranger. I'm going to have to get him painted up. I increased his fight, his move, and his health. So he has a move of 7, a fight of +3, and a health of 19 starting out. He is still currently level 0 because even after completing the mission yesterday, I only ended up with 84 experience points, and you need 100 to level the first time. So he'll level after the second game. On heroic abilities and spells, you have heroic abilities and spells. They're 1 point apiece, however you want to do them. You can buy up to 5 things here. Heroic abilities are just kind of cool things you can do, and they don't require an action. They're either a reaction type thing, or you just choose when to do them. Spells, on the other hand, require an action. However, sometimes it's not like in Frostgrave where you have to try to get the spell to go off. If you have the action available, you can just say, I'm using the action to cast this spell, and it has this effect. If it's against a monster or evil creature, and sometimes they will allow a will save or a will roll against it. That will be described in the spell. The 2 that I took don't. I took 5 items here. I took 3 heroic abilities. Blend with the Shadows, which is, and these you can use once a game. So blend with the Shadows. If a monster it can see me and it's going to get in contact with me, I can activate blend with the Shadows, and then that monster will move as if it does not see me. So it doesn't have line of sight to me. It would have to pick someone else to go towards. I picked Dash, which for 1 turn gives me +2 to my move. So my little Dwarf Witcher would be moving with a base speed of 9 for a turn. And then I picked Frenzied Attack, because he just looks like he could really lay down some whooping with that big sword. So 1 time per game I could choose Frenzy Attack. You have to choose before you roll the dice, but you can add +5 to your attack roll for that turn. So as long as you roll high, that could be great. Now the other 2 that I spent points on were 2 spells. These cost an action to use. The first one I picked Heal. It's a spell. I can target myself or somebody within 6 inches that I can see, and they can regain 5 health. The other one I took is Magic Bolt, which is, magic missile, basically. It gives you, well, no, because you have to roll a hit, but it gives you an instant +5 shooting attack that ignores terrain and cover. So I figured as a last-ditch effort, if Glaive here is in a tight spot and I need to hit something ranged, he could cast that Magic Bolt at him. I gave him, items-wise, he gets 6 item slots. I only gave him 3 because I left 3 open. He has a 2-handed sword, which does +2 damage, a rope for climbing, and he has light armor, which bumped his armor to 11. Skills. Every build point that you spend in skills, which are all listed on the character sheet here, every time you spend a build point on that, it allows you to pick 8 skills and put a +1 in those skills. You have all of the skills, but if you haven't put points in them, you roll them at just +0, just straight die roll. If you put a point in it, then you get a bonus to that die roll. So I picked 8 skills. I picked Ancient Lore, Climb, Leadership, Pick Locks, Read Runes, Stealth, Survival, and Track. And I put a +1 in them. Now, if you want to spend another build point, you can pick 8 other skills and put a +1 in them, or you can pick the same 8 skills and put another +1 in them, which is what I did. So I spent 2 points there, and all of my skills I chose went up to +2. And that's pretty much it for my Ranger. You then have 100 points, build points, or recruitment points, that's what they're called, to recruit companions to play with. And each time you recruit, the first time you recruit one of these companions into your group, you can give them +3 in a single skill. Just to keep it easy, and because I knew this skill would be needed, because I always need this skill, I gave the +3 to all of them in Climb. Some people may want to spread it out, and that's fine. That's the way the game is designed. You can really customize your team how you want it. But I like to do a lot of climbing on terrain, so I figured giving them all +3 to climb was great. So my next guy is Brahm the Blade, and he is a savage, and that is basically a barbarian. Barbarian's an option too, but barbarian is sword and board, whereas this gave me a barbarian stat-wise with a 2-handed weapon. I like 2-handed weapons because they give you +2 damage. The miniature is actually a Conan miniature that I printed out. And let's see, other than giving him +3, I didn't get, for climbing, his regular stats, he's a move 6, fight +4, +0 to shoot, armor 10, +3 will, and health is 14. He cost me 35 recruitment points. My next guy that I hired on is Sir Morgan, who is a Templar, and this is another one that I printed out recently. He's a very cool looking dude. Well, you can see him, that this camera up close only does so good. I need to take some pictures of these and put them on the Facebook page. But he is my Templar. He is a move 5 because he's got that heavy armor. Fight +4, shoot +0, armor 12, will +2, health is 12. He also cost me 35 points. Oh, they also, each of them come with a skill outside of the skill that you gave them. Like I gave them all climb. My barbarian, or my savage, Brahm, has strength +5. So anytime he does a strength skill, he gets to add +5 to it. So Morgan has strength +4. But he also has the two-handed weapon, and he has heavy armor, so that increased his armor by 2. My next one is Duncan the Archer, and this is one of my Frostgrave miniatures, and it is a really cool looking 3D printed dwarf with a crossbow. I did not 3D print this. I did paint it, even though you can't see it real well. This was a gift from Haley to me like about a year ago when I was trying to build up my Frostgrave team, and I figured why not use him for both games. I wanted an archer, so he gave me an archer. Let's see, he is move 6, fight +2, shoot +2, 11 armor, will +1, health is 10. He only cost me 20 points. He has a crossbow which 24-inch range, cost an action to reload, but does +2 damage. He also has the quiver, dagger, and light armor, and I gave him the climb +3. And my final guy, which brought me to 100 points, is Sal. And Sal is a recruit, and a recruit is a mook. It is a dude with a hand weapon. So this is Sal. He is one of my dwarves from Frostgrave, but he is a guy with a hand. The model actually has several hand weapons, but he's a cool looking mini, and I use him for running around and grabbing stuff that's not in the most dangerous situations because he's not a great fighter. He is a move 6, fight +2, shoot +0, armor 10, will +0, health 10, and only cost me 10 points. He has climb +3, but only a hand weapon, no armor or anything. So that's my 100 points. After playing a game, all of my companions got a progression point, which you just mark off here, and once they get 5, they get to do a level bump. And I got 84 on my Ranger. Alright, so what did I think of it? I have it in PDF. I want it in book form, but I don't have it yet. It's a fun game, which I already knew I liked it because it's based on Frostgrave, and I've really enjoyed playing Frostgrave. But like I said, I don't know what it is about it, but this plays a lot faster. Maybe it's because I'm playing solo and I'm not waiting on someone else to make decisions. I'm making all the decisions and the game stays moving. That's probably what it is. But the game is very, very fun. It's very deadly, just like Frostgrave. The dice can go awry and all of your dudes can be dead really quick, so you got to be careful. You got to think about what you're doing, and you got to hope for a bit of luck. It's not as generic as Frostgrave, like let's just set the table up and do a pitched battle, which you can do with Frostgrave. Oh, do we want to use Wandering Monster? Sure, just open the Wandering Monster chart. We'll roll each turn for a monster. Other than that, we're just running around collecting treasure. There is treasure to be found in this game, but that's because sometimes a clue marker turns out to be treasure, and then you get to roll on a random chart at the end, which I did. I ended up with 2 herbs. Night Knock and Silverhair. Night Knock does an instant cure disease to any character I give it to, and Silverhair is an herb I can use that if I'm encountering gnolls, it gives the gnolls all -1 to their dice rolls because they really don't like it. But those are the 2 that I've found so far. I didn't find any gold or anything because you don't really spend gold on anything in this game. I just got the XP for my character. I enjoyed playing. I did not enjoy the way that my camera acted and kept failing on me, but I did have a good time playing it, and I'm looking forward to playing the second scenario. I understand there are more than one book. There are several books out there. I've put some of the stuff on my wish list. So hey, if you'd like to help out, that's one way you can do it, is you can hit up my wish list and send me some of that Rangers of Shadowdeep stuff. I would appreciate it, and it would give me more stuff to go over on the channel. Outside of that, I hope you enjoyed talking about this. If you've got questions, comments, concerns, or sarcasm about it, feel free to put them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Like, share, subscribe, that whole 9 yards. And until next time, my friends, good gaming and good luck.